Andrew, Wimbledon. Evening, Andrew.
Hey, how you going?
Fine, thank you. So, as lockdown just descended into farce, we've got the protests for Black Lives Matter. We've got people going to the beach in their absolute droves. We've got the protests. We've got Dominic Cummings breaking the rules. We've then got people breaking the rules to protest about Dominic Cummings breaking the rules. We've got Barry Gardiner, the MP, going on marches after condemning Dominic Cummings. We've got Sadiq Khan, who doesn't know his backside from his elbow. I'm getting so sick of this, Andrew.
It's an absolute shit show.
Well, I don't know if you can say that, but it's all right, sorry, Andrew. But I think anyone who would have heard that would have probably agreed. But we won't hear a word like that again, please, Andrew. But it is an absolute farce, right?
Yeah, well, Dominic Cummings he's a hypocrite. He's obviously the worst offender. We had all these people protesting, and that was a completely legitimate reason to go out into the streets. And Dominic Cummings is one guy. He's out there.
Hang on. Why is protesting a legitimate reason to break lockdown rules? It is, of course, in normal times, completely legitimate to protest. Why, during lockdown, is it acceptable?
It's never been more important than ever than for people to get out there and voice their opinions about how racist this society we live in is, really.
So it's important that we have people go out to protest to make sure lives are saved in the future.
Yeah, exactly. Like
right.
George Floyd.
But what about the lives that might be lost as a result of people gathering together in one place in the future? Do you not see the slight contradiction in marching to save lives, which could ultimately lose lives?
It's a hard thing to do. But sometimes, if we want to save people from the racist white society, then that's what needs to happen, I guess. George Floyd might not have been the most upstanding person. He held a gun to a pregnant woman, in a robbery. But if we want to save lives, then we need to get out there on the street. Do
you not think that perhaps? I agree with the spirit of what you're saying. Actually, I do. What worries me is that I don't understand having to break social distancing for this, because I'm worried that if people from the black and ethnic minority communities are being disproportionately affected by coronavirus, then it's more important than ever that there aren't large gatherings of people from the black and ethnic minority community. So that's a worry for that community and for wider communities in general. That's my first point. My second point is we live in an age that's so sophisticated and clever when it comes to technology. For me, bearing in mind how perilous the position that we're in is at the moment, could there have been perhaps something that was a little cleverer that could have been sorted?
Well, there's a lot of white privilege. So these people they can sit at home and stay safe. But unfortunately, the BAME people need to get out of the streets and
Andrew, with love and respect, there is a wider implication to the whole of society if a big crowd of people, whatever their ethnicity, get together during a time when it is absolutely essential that groups remain small. Why couldn't they have done an equally powerful protest by making everyone go out onto their doorstep on a Thursday night and kneel down on their doorstep instead, across the whole of the UK? Why couldn't they have done the biggest ever Facebook Live and had every single person go on Facebook Live at a certain time to state that Black Lives Matters across the UK from their living rooms?
The fact is that, that's all that's good, and that sort of happened. But the fact is that white British people will be a minority by 2066, and so if we want white people to not stop that, and so we need to get out and protest, obviously.
Say that again. So black and ethnic minority people will be in a minority, or
no? White British people will be in minority by the year 2066.
Right.
In England. And so we need to get out and protest, obviously. Like John Boyega, he said in his protest, he said that he's worried about not having a job. And I completely agree with him, because, Disney supported him and Disney supported the Black Lives Matter protest, but still, I think that his job's at stake here. He's really speaking out against the establishment, and it's really inspiring for me to see him do that.
It is, and I agree, and I'm not saying that a protest or that people's voices shouldn't be heard. I'm totally not saying that. It's ridiculous, and there is a a change happening, and a change needs to have happened in the States for a long time. By the way, I put the protesters probably at the bottom of the list of the co-idiots, because if there is one group of people I could understand, I can't endorse breaking the rules, but at least you can look at it and say, okay, I have some understanding of that. What about those that go to the beach?
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I mean,
there's a place in hell for those people, isn't there?
Well, that's the thing. The people that go to the beach, a lot of them, what I've heard is they're going to stop the invasion. I mean, already this year there's been more border crossings illegally from Calais than all of last year combined. And so those people that go to the beach, a lot of them I've heard have been going to try to stop that. I mean,
no, I'm telling you now, the photos on Durdle Door from the week or two before last, where people were throwing themselves into the sea, where the air ambulance had to land because someone jumped off the cliff to go into the sea. This was during the lockdown, meaning that they had to kettle everyone at one end of the beach, meaning hundreds of people were in one particular place. It is ridiculous. You just should go to my local park. Go to my local
park. Out there on the beach, more like garage, that's what I'd say.
Say that again?
I said Farage, more like garage, am I right?
Well, yeah, Farage, of course, breaking rules to go and show people who are apparently breaking rules.
That's the thing. He pretends to go out
I've got about Farage. I could put him on, can't I?
Oh, bring him on.
Where would he go? So if we put Dominic Cummings number one, I'm sure there'll be other people that go on the list. Where would we put Farage on that list?
Oh, he would be probably... I'm not sure. I'm not convinced on Farage.
No, he broke rules. You can't... Yes, he may have been trying to bring a very important issue to people who feel very passionately about it.
No. I mean, with Farage, some people say he's gatekeeping, some people say he's pushing it over to window, but I mean, I'm not convinced. He went out on that boat and he's obviously a racist, so where does he stand? I mean, that's a question.
But that's the point. You can do all of that stuff, but by doing so and travelling that distance and not therefore being completely local in his exercising and leaving the house, that was a rule break. Probably not the worst rule break, probably not the kind of break that's gonna cause horrific issues, but it's still a rule break.
The real problem with it was that he was actually stopping. He was standing up for the English people, and he was stopping the invasion force, as some racists have called it, from actually getting into Britain. That's the problem.
Yeah, well, that's his justification, of course, and in normal circumstances, people may well agree with that, but all bets are off when there is a pandemic lockdown, and that is the point. You can't say, well, this is so important, I'm Nigel Farage, I'm going to go and do this. I mean, I suppose there would have been an argument if we were going to employ Dominic Cummings-esque defences here, that he's a key worker, because it's journalism, but I think it's a bit of a stretch.
I guess in a sense, then you could make an argument for an authoritarian governance in which, we actually have a bit of authority instead of this, this neoliberal, tyranny, this anarchism almost, not full anarchism, obviously, but
so are we in anarchy at the moment then?
I think we're an anarcho-tyrannical society in a sense.
How so?
Well, I mean, it's almost as if there's a parallel system here. Like you have one channel, people can get away with an abundance of horrible things, and on the other channel, people will get locked up and in trouble for something very, very simple. That's the way I see it.
What are your examples of that? Because I don't know whether anyone would... I didn't kind of understand that fully from what you simply said. So what would be an example of those two different channels you spoke of?
Yeah, so someone posts an offensive tweet, they might get in trouble. But if someone does a horrific crime, which I'm sort of hesitant to say on the radio, of course, but because I've said that naughty word before, so I don't want to say the other one. But if someone did a horrific crime, like in real life, then they might get a lighter sentence. So you have parallel societies. It's almost like you have an underclass and you have a people that can't be touched. Another term...
Elites, if you like. And that is why I'm sorry, I put Dominic Cummings at the top of the list of elites as well, because that's precisely
absolutely.
what he was. But then you're right, but then you've got people who the police turned up and had a go at them for sitting in their own front garden, for instance. You've got police turning up and having a go at people for sitting in their own front garden, but then you've got someone who drives 260 miles for childcare that he didn't even actually need at that moment, and people say, well, he was justified. You're right, it is a double, two-tier system. It's hypocritical, it's unfair, and that is not the only example. Andrew, nice to talk to you. Oh, we're putting the world to rights, aren't we?